Okay, so we're picking up where we left off last time. We're on just Genesis 25, and I'm going to do a small prayer before we begin. Okay. Dear God, thank you for another day that we're able to share with our friends and our family, the people we love the most. Let us read these words and understand them. We might start to take into our heart things that have happened in the past, Father, that are also related to the future, Father. For these are things that are of human flesh and blood, Father, and also of spiritual things, Father. Let us separate those things and know the difference. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. Okay, so we're going to go back to where we left off, Genesis 25. Abraham married another wife, whose name was Keturah. She gave birth to Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Ishbak, and Shua. Jokshan was the father of Sheba and Dedan. Dedan's descendants were the Asherites, the Shittites, and the Lemurites. Median's sons were Ephah, Eber, Hanok, Abed, and Eldah. These were the descendants of Abraham through Keturah. Abraham gave everything he owned to his son Isaac, but before he died, he gave gifts to his sons of his concubines and sent them off to the land in the east, away from Isaac. Abraham lived for 175 years, and he died at a ripe age. He lived a long, satisfied life. He breathed his last breath and joined his ancestors in death. His son Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah near Miriam, in the field of Ephron, his son of Zohar the Hittite. This was the field Abraham had purchased from the Hittite and where he buried his wife Sarah. After Abraham died, God blessed his son Isaac, who settled near Beer-lahai-roi in the Negev. This is the account of the family of Ishmael, the son of Abraham through Hagar, Sarah's Egyptian servant. Here is the list by their names and clans of Ishmael's descendants. The oldest was Neoboth, followed by Kedar, Ebal, Mishram, Misha, Duma, Massa, Hadad, Tema, Jutar, Naphish, and Kedemish. These 12 sons of Ishmael became the founders of 12 tribes named after and listed according to the places where they settled in camp. Ishmael lived 137 years. Then he breathed his last breath and joined his ancestors in death. Ishmael's descendants occupied the region of Havilah to Shur, which is east of direction of Asher. There they lived in open hostility towards all their relatives. This is the account of the family of Isaac, the son of Abraham. When Isaac was 40 years old, he married Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, the Aramean from Pedaram, and the sister of Laban, the Aramean. Isaac pled with the Lord on his wife's behalf because she was unable to have children. The Lord answered Isaac's prayers, and Rebekah became pregnant with twins. But the two children struggled with each other in her womb. So she went and asked the Lord about it. "Why is this happening to me?" she asked. The Lord told her, "The sons in your womb will become two nations from the very beginning. The two nations will be rivals. One nation will be stronger than the other. Your older son will serve the younger son." Then when it came time for Rebekah to give birth, she discovered she indeed was having twins. The first one was very red at birth and covered with thick hair like a fur coat. So they named him Esau. Then the other twin was born with his hand grasping Esau's heel, so they named him Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when the twins were born. As the boys grew up, Esau became a skillful hunter and he was an outdoorsman, but Jacob had a quiet temperament, preferring to stay at home. Isaac loved Esau because he enjoyed eating the wild game Esau brought home, but Rebekah loved Jacob. One day, Jacob was cooking up some stew, and Esau arrived home from the wilderness exhausted and hungry. Esau said to Jacob, "I'm starving. Give me some of that red stew." This is how Esau got his other name, Edom, which means red. All right, Jacob replied, but trade me your birthrights as a firstborn son. Look, I'm dying of starvation, said Esau. What good is my birthright now? But Jacob said, first you must swear by your birthright is mine. So Esau swore the oath, therefore selling his rights as the firstborn to his brother Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau some bread and lentil stew. Esau ate the meal, then he got up and left. He showed his contempt for the rights of firstborn. Okay, now we're going into Genesis 26. A severe famine struck the land. This had happened before Abraham's time, so Isaac moved to Gerar, where Abimelech, king of the Philistines, lived. The Lord appeared to Isaac and said, do not go down to Egypt, but do as I tell you. Live here as a foreigner in this land, and I will be with you, and I will bless you. I hereby confirm that I will give you this land to you and your descendants, just as I solemnly promised Abraham your father. I will cause your descendants to become as numerous as the stars in the sky, and I will give them all this land, and through your descendants all the nations of the earth will be blessed. And I will do this because Abraham listened to me and obeyed me, my requirements, my commands, my decrees, and my instructions. So Isaac stayed in Gerar. When the men who lived there asked about Rebekah, he said, she is my sister. He was afraid to say she was his wife, and he thought, they will kill me to get her because she is so beautiful. But sometime later, Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out his window and he saw Isaac caressing Rebekah. Immediately, he called for Isaac and exclaimed, she is obviously your wife. Why did you say she was your sister? Because I was afraid that you would kill me to get to her from me, Isaac replied. How could you do this to us? Abimelech exclaimed. One of my people might have easily taken her as a wife and slept with her, and this would have made us guilty of a great sin. When Abimelech issued a public proclamation, anyone who touches this man or his wife will be put to death. When Isaac planted his crops that year, he harvested 100 times more grain than he planted, and the Lord blessed him. He became a very rich man, and his wealth continued to grow. He acquired many flocks, sheep, goats, herds, and cattle, and servants. That the Philistines became jealous of him. So the Philistines filled up Jacob's wells with dirt. They filled up the wells they had dug up from that his father's servants Abraham had dug up. Finally, Abimelech ordered Isaac to leave the country. Go somewhere else, he said, for you have become too powerful for us. So Isaac moved away to the Gerar Valley, where he set up their tents and settled down. He reopened a well his father had dug, and the Philistines had filled after Abraham's death. Isaac also restored the name Abraham had given him. Isaac's servants also dug in Gerar Valley and discovered a well with fresh water. But the shepherds of Gerar came and exclaimed, "This is our water," they said, and they argued over it. And Isaac's herdsmen. So Isaac named the well Eshcol, meaning argument. Isaac's men dug another well, and again a dispute over it. So Isaac named the well Sitnah, which means hostility. Abandoning that one, Isaac moved and dug another well. This time there was no dispute over it. So Isaac named this place Rehoboth, which means open space. For he said, "At last, the Lord has created enough space between us to prosper in the land." From there, Isaac moved to Beersheba, where the Lord had appeared to him at night. That night he arrived. "I am the God of your father Abraham," he said. "Do not be afraid, for I am with you, and I will bless you and multiply your descendants, and you will become a great nation. I will do this because of my promise to Abraham, my servant." Then Isaac built an altar there to worship the Lord. He set up camp at that place, and his servants dug a well again. One day, King Abimelech came to Gerar with his advisors, Ashereth and Philcol, his army commander. Why did you come here? Isaac asked. You obviously hate me since you kicked me from your land. They replied, we can plainly see that the Lord is with you, so we want to enter into a sworn treaty with you. Let us make a covenant. Swear that you will not harm us, just as we have never troubled you. We have always treated you well. We sent you away from us in peace, and now look how the Lord has blessed you. So Isaac prepared a covenant feast to celebrate the treaty that they ate and drank together. Early the next morning, they each took a solemn oath. Now, a solemn oath not to interfere with each other. Then Isaac sent them home again, and they left in peace. That very day, Isaac's servants came and told him about the well they had dug. We found water, they exclaimed. So Isaac named the well Sheba, which means oath. And this day the town grew up there and called Beersheba, which means the well of oath. At the age of 40, Esau married two Hittite wives, Judith and the daughter of Beer, and Basemash, and the daughter of Elon. But Esau's wives made life miserable for Isaac and Rebekah. And we are going to stop there, and that is Genesis 26:35.